Hey, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how you're going to finish off your paver bricks. You've already poured them and they've dried. You want to give them, depending on the weather, at least 3 to 5 days to dry thoroughly. Make sure if you have them setting on a tarp that you're going to take them off the tarp and set them on some concrete or something that's going to allow them to, more air to go through them and for them to dry thoroughly before we stain them. Then you're going to take your brick and you want to file down the edges and any rough bumps you have on the top. I use basic metal file, which I actually got at the dollar store. It's holding up pretty well. And you're just going to go along your edges. Have safety glasses on. I've lost mine today, but put safety glasses on. Some people might want to also wear a face mask if you have a propensity to lung issues and you're doing a lot of these. So I'm just grinding down the edge. You don't have to overdo it because we're still going to do a coat of stain on this. But you don't want any little pieces to break off when you're walking on them. So you want to take off. Basically, we're focusing on the vulnerable parts of the brick. Any little loose stones or loose edges. And should only take you about a half a minute really to grind it down. Then after we have it reasonably ground down, we're going to take our concrete stain. Now I'm using a solid color concrete stain. You have a lot of different options. There's also a kind of a see-through concrete stain that gives a really beautiful finish, but it wasn't what I was looking for. I was looking for something more solid, something more traditional. So I picked out the paint colors. This is like a very light plum, which matches the taupe color of my home. And then I went with a super, super light lime green for the other square brick that I'm working with. You want to always make sure that you stir your paint really, really, really well before you start to work with it, so all the chemicals are mixed up and you get the best possible sealant. And what I do is I start with the sides. Your brush, go to the dollar store, get like a 2-inch, 1.5, 2-inch cheap plastic brush, because as you can imagine, the stain is very hard on the brush and it's not worth spending the $6 to $8 on a good paintbrush. So I'm just really dabbing and coating this, really getting this into all the pores and holes on the sides of my brick first. And I'm going to do the entire brick. And the reason I'm going to do the entire brick is because I think it's going to help to seal the brick. And because we're working with concrete, concrete does absorb moisture. I believe if we coat this really, really well with this concrete, solid concrete stain, that it's going to give longevity and strength to our brick, creating a moisture barrier. So you see I'm dabbing in there really well. And there's no use to, you don't want to waste paint, because if you use a little less paint and you really work it in there hard, it's going to be better for the longevity of your paint job or your stain job. Because if you put it on really thick, when it starts to dry, holes are going to appear. You're going to see where you didn't get it in really well, the different divots and textures on your brick. So even after I think that it's, like on there well, I'm still going to go through and really mush it. And again, this is why I use a cheap plastic bristle brush, so I can really abuse my brush. And this is what basically your brick's going to look like. Rubber gloves, saves a lot of time scrubbing stuff off your fingers later. And I'm going to take you over now and show you what I've accomplished so far. This is today's work. I'm just finishing the last piece of my walkway. Now when it comes to paint, you don't want to buy cheap paint. I really believe that the better brands have a better consistency. On the edge of fall here, so we're dropping redwood, but this is where I'm at so far with it. I'm really happy with it and how it matches the colors in the house. And I would have never been able to find or afford this at the Brickyard or any of the department stores or Home Depot or what have you. So that's it. I'm going to bring you back to when I'm finishing this and putting the sand in between the bricks, because I'm working with a kind of a newish material that a lot of people don't know about, and that'll be our next video, finishing placing the bricks, getting the sand underneath them, leveling, and using this special material that helps weeds from coming up in between the cracks and stabilizes the actual bricks. Well, thank you. If you enjoy my quick videos, please subscribe. It helps. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.